All right, just looking at the answer choices to number 19, we know that they're testing quadratic equations, parabolas. So really what this is about is knowing the correct vocabulary for those kinds of equations. So let's zoom in on that for a sec. The range of the polynomial function f is the set of real numbers less than or equal to 4. So I'm going to put that on hold for a sec. If the zeros of f are -3 and 1, which of the following could be the graph of f? So this is key. You need to be able to move between the different vocabulary words for quadratics very easily, and zeros is one of the most important ones. Zeros are the same as x-intercepts. So there are some others. I'm going to just throw them out there, right? So solutions is sometimes how we talk about it because it's where the equation equals 0, so sometimes that's what we mean by solutions. They're also called the roots a lot of the time. There's another word that is associated with these words that is not quite the same, and that is the word factor. Factors. And this is where people maybe make mistakes here. So we know that the zeros, the x-intercepts, are -3 and +1. So let's look. So -3, 1, 2, 3, +1. So A checks out. B does not, right? It flips it. This is +1, or sorry, this is +3 and -1, right? So compare -3, +1, +3, -1. So why would someone be confused about that? Well, it's because when we talk about the zeros, that's what we mean. We mean that those are the places where it crosses the x-axis. But how did we get those? Most of the time, what we end up doing is we end up factoring a quadratic, and it looks slightly different. It's because when we have the factor, the sign, the positive or negative sign, is the reverse of the root, the 0, the x-intercept. So people kind of forget why that's the case, and they kind of like half remember this rule, and then it kind of throws them off here. So that's why the vocab is important. These words, these 4 words are the same, but then this word factor is related, but kind of different enough. And so let me just put it as clearly as I can. -3 is a 0 of f. Therefore, x plus 3 would be a factor of f. And I'll do it again with the ones just to make it doubly clear. +1 is a 0 of f. Therefore, x minus 1 would be a factor of f, right? So there's a flip, but we need to pay attention to what they're asking for, or what they're giving us. In this case, they're giving us the zeros. We just take those numbers literally, which is my way of saying B and D, which is kind of crazy, are wrong. So D has another 0 here. It does have the -3, and it does have the 1, but it also has a 0 at 0, 0. So that's just wrong. That's not right. But here we go. We have -3 and +1. So this one also works. And that's where we get to this other fact. The range is going to be real numbers less than or equal to 4. So just to write that in a more coherent way, what that means, let's just focus in on these A and C. The range is numbers less than or equal to 4. So yes, y is less than or equal to 4, which means, and that's the key, is range means the y up and down. So we just want to look for something that goes only as high as 4, and that's here, right? This goes up to 4 and then turns around and comes back. So A is the answer, whereas 4 here is just kind of right through the middle of the thing. So that doesn't help us at all. So A is the answer because of those two facts. We need to know zeros and x-intercepts, but range is a term that describes how high or low the maximums and the minimums of the y values. Sometimes when we're in school, we learn about domain, which is kind of like the equivalent for x. But on the SAT, that word, I can't remember ever seeing it. So I don't think you really need to worry about it, but range does come up. So keep that in mind. That's the up and down, the Y. So yeah, this is annoying if you're unfamiliar with the vocabulary and you can see how they're trying to trick you, but these are really important vocab words to understand and to know. We get the factors in there. And that's because the SAT, a lot of times when they test quadratics, they're not really testing math, they're testing vocab. So we need to be comfortable with the vocab so that we can get these questions right quickly, because they're also very fast if we're confident with the vocab. So try to keep that in mind, the similar terms and that the word factor is related, but not quite the same.